Of the gunmen who are alleged to have carried out the attacks in 6 months allegedly posted their plans on the exact same website before they allegedly carried out the mass shootings. We are looking into this as well as mental health, social media. How do all of these things play into the current crisis we're in? Dr. Alex Del Carmen is a trained criminologist who also heads up the School of Criminology, Criminal Justice, and Strategic Studies at Tarleton State University in Fort Worth, Texas. Dr. Del Carmen, as we begin this, let's first talk about the people who are posting that they're even afraid to leave their homes now because of this. Have we really gotten to that point where society is kind of veering to, I'm afraid and I don't even want to go shopping?
Yeah, I compare this to the aftermath of 9/11 in that many people just simply quit flying, right? That there was a fear among the populace that because of the frequency, the gravity, and the fact that it hit home here in Texas, I think many people are just really afraid and they feel like going anywhere now. In the old days, it used to be, please don't go to a bar or don't put yourself in danger. Because these attacks are actually happening in places where normally we would go, right? We would go to Walmart on a Saturday with our families in order to be able to shop for our kids that are about to start school. So I think it really hits home in the core of most Americans, and most will see this as, boy, I'm vulnerable, and perhaps I'm more vulnerable than I thought I was.
A lot more of the studying is being done into the mindset of the alleged shooters. We're trying to figure out where is this, where are we going wrong as a society, what's happening. Talk to that a little bit, and when people say, you know what, we're just in much more of a violent society, maybe that is part of the case, but a lot of this boils down to mental health, correct?
It does, and then part of it also is the rhetoric. Everybody seems to be talking about undocumented immigrants coming to our country and doing X, Y, and Z, and I think that, there are people that are radicalizing themselves. What the FBI director said last week is spot on, right? Where he said that the number one concern, or one of the main concerns of the FBI today, is not necessarily, an orchestrated attack like 9/11, but perhaps these sort of homegrown terrorists that are simply radicalizing themselves. These are the lone attackers that are into the internet. They're reading stuff online in somebody's attic or somebody's basement, and then they're going to turn around and cause some serious harm on the rest of us.
And when it comes to social media, from what I understand, 3 of the alleged shooters in our latest mass shootings had posted their manifesto to a social media site. Of course, I don't want to give a lot of attention, and I'm not going to mention what site that they posted to, but so many times we want to, as media, and the public wants to know the motive behind it. But as a trained criminologist, I'm sure motive is a big part of what you look at.
Absolutely. It's real. First of all, there are 2 aspects to your statement, right? So first of all is that, there's always the competition of the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution and, what is actually posted that may actually inflict or inspire other people to commit a violent act, right? So your rights end whenever you are infringing upon someone else's rights, right? So there's that part of it. The other aspect of it is to what extent can we actually regulate and be able to predict these attacks from taking place from the law enforcement community. And it's extremely hard. The FBI, ironically enough, is trying to expand its own database so that they are able to do, some algorithms and be able to identify some of these postings. But keep in mind that at least the El Paso shooter, actually posted this minutes before the attack. So it would have been nearly impossible for somebody to be able to identify this prior to the attacks.
Moving forward, as a member of the media, we hate to focus on, the conversations the days after, focus on dissecting everything, and that's kind of what you and I are doing. But keeping the shooters' names out of the media, I think, is important. What else can we do to be more responsible?
I think we also need to be aware of our surroundings. We need to be able to report that which just doesn't look right, doesn't sound right, doesn't read right. And I think we need to be aware of where our children are, what's going on in our neighborhoods, in our communities. We're so disconnected now from one another because of the lives that we live And I think part of it is, the radicalization of these young men and women is real. And this is really going to be an ongoing problem for us. And I bet you, sadly enough, that this will not be the last we hear or the last we see in the coming years regarding a violent attack in America.
Well, Dr. Del Carmen, I really appreciate your time and certainly your insight. Thank you.
Thank you.